Rick Marks here. Do you stay open to emotions? I thought it was an interesting question that came up in the Emotionally Intelligent Manager that I've been reading of recent, and it talks about like understanding and being open to whether you've got that, you know, that feeling and having that conscious mind. It's all in the mindset and all in the understanding. Once we can understand ourselves, we can understand others. Then when we understand others, we can understand situations, and we gain more and more data and intelligence as we go, and we become emotionally smarter, I guess. That's the end goal. So questions to ask yourself is, do you often think about your emotions? Like, do you actually think about your emotions? You know, yeah, I'm upset that this happened, or yeah, you know, that happened, or... But do you actually like think down why? What is it about that I am sad, angry, whatever emotion it is that we're feeling? Why, or what is it about that I am upset or sad or whatever about? Because when we start to then dig down, we start to understand the true core meaning, I guess, of what it is that's triggering us on that, and then we can start to address how we can get out of that, or how we can change and reframe that scenario or that situation. It's best to experience my emotions to the fullest. I pay a lot of attention to my feelings. These are questions to ask yourself. I feel at ease about my emotions, and I stay aware of my feelings even when they are painful or negative. And so often we tend to numb or avoid certain feelings and emotions. And that can be a defense mechanism as such, depending on, again, past lessons that we've learned in life. We shy away from these things for, I guess, fight or flight. And it's important that we ask these questions to ourselves frequently and do check-ins. Because even though I've talked about talking with others and colleagues, and, you know, you seem sad, or, you know, you seem distracted, whatever it is, their assessments, and the more we actually understand ourselves, the better we become with how we emote to people. And we can start to then act with intelligence out of that. So you have somebody who's angry, and they can choose to either be angry at you, or they can act out of anger. Now, there's a difference with that. And this works for all the emotions. It's not just anger. I just picked anger because it's generally so far off the chart sort of thing that we get a lot more variation, and then you can bring it down to some of the other emotions. But anger in itself, we can either be angry, we can flip tables, we can punch walls, and that's fantastic. That's expressing our anger, and, you know. However, how often do we get anywhere constructively from that? Very rarely. But instead, you're allowed to be angry about whatever the root cause, and as we've talked about, let's drill down to what actually is causing you to be angry. Is it a succession of things? Is it one common thing that's the core, and all these other things are on the outer of that emotional you know, impact? An accumulation of things. Once we start to understand what is triggering that and causing the anger, we can be angry still, but now we can go, look, I'm really angry, and this is why I'm really angry. We can use our smarts. We're not now in that rage mind of punching holes in walls, the irrational thinking, the yelling and the screaming. Instead, now we're still angry. That hasn't changed. That core feeling is still there. However, we can now be in control, and we can go, it really makes me angry when you do that, and this is why it makes me angry. And you've now drilled down. It doesn't have to take a lot of analysis and a lot of time and study and whatnot to understand. And obviously, the more you are in touch with your feelings and your emotions, you're going to think quicker. You're going to be able to process it on the fly, and you're going to be able to rationally come up with this conclusions a lot quicker. So once you can understand then the anger and stuff, and then this then also works if you've got an angry staff member or angry partner or whatever, and then they're angry, you're able to remain calm and cool And you can go, look, you seem angry. Well, I am angry, okay. Let's process it. Well, what are you angry about? Well, I'm angry because, you never listened to me. Okay, what do you mean by I never listened to you? Ask the questions, dig down. And this is no different in your head when you're processing your own feelings and you're processing somebody else's. Just keep asking the questions. And this reminds me often of a childlike thinking of when they go, but why, but why, but why, but why. Keep drilling down, keeping the answers though. So I have a kid and he asks questions galore. And it's fantastic because, and I have no problem answering his questions, you know why? Because he grows and learns from my answers. I've in the past had kids that have asked questions and they're like, but why, but why, but why, but why? And it's not developing anything. Whereas my son is constantly learning from it, and then he'll come back to me a little while later and he'll go, so that works like that, so that this can happen, and that can. He's joined all the dots together, and so he's done that on his own, but he's built all of his data and understanding from his questioning of me. So as adults, we can adapt that mindset as well and go, so let's ask all the questions. So what is it, I'm never listening to you. What do you mean by that? Well, you cut me off and I don't feel like we ever get constructive, conversation. You'll find as well eventually like that they're starting to drop in their level of emotion, or I guess the depth of emotion. So rather than being blind with rage at the moment when they want to punch a hole in the wall, you've now brought them down to a more rational level. And now you've started this conversation. You've got their brain into another gear where they're actually thinking a little bit more clearer. And you're gaining ground now because you're understanding, okay, so you're angry because you feel I don't listen to you, and that isn't because these things are the indicators. Okay, so what do you feel I could do better that would then make it... Now you've got their brain going into thinking mode rather than blind rage, and you can then use that to gather more intelligence. And again, if it doesn't involve you, it's even easier. Like, oh, I'm so angry because they, this and that at work, and it's just frustrates because blah, 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 and, process it. So what about it really is getting to you? Like, what is it? What are you trying to resolve? What are you trying to get out of it? What do you want to achieve? And start to help them either understand they're never going to get that outcome or whatever it is that they're seeking, or you can help them to navigate to how they could get that outcome. Sometimes it's easier when you've got somebody on the other side of a fence, or you've got somebody at a different level seeing the gameplay, to go, what you're seeking is unrealistic, it's not going to happen. Or they might see a pathway that you haven't seen yet. Have you thought about talking about this person, or going over and looking at that? Have you thought about this? Again, we are not supposed to know everything, otherwise we wouldn't need community, we wouldn't need others, we would be able to be self-sufficient. As humans, we need others, we need community, we need to have those interactions, we have to have those people to help us to get by, because they see things from a different angle. And I've talked about the worldview from different angles. We've all been there, and we've all seen, arguing a 6 and a 9 across the table. We're both right. Everyone has a worldview, no one's wrong by their worldview. When you can start to understand, you can start to converse over it, you can then gather more intelligence and more data, and then you become smarter and you become smarter. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be the smartest, you have know everything, but you've got to work out what matters. If you've enjoyed the video, thumbs up, chuck, subscribe, bell notification, and you'll see me in the next video. Bye for now.